Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to put a forced patina on a knife blade using nothing but mustard. This is a very easy thing to do. It will only take a few minutes and it will make your knife look really awesome. Okay, so a forced patina is when you take a high carbon steel knife blade and purposely apply some sort of acid, in this case mustard, to oxidize certain parts of the steel, generally in some sort of pattern, for aesthetic effect, to make it look cool. This can be done and is done sometimes for to put a sort of protective coating on the knife blade to make it a little bit less susceptible to rust and that sort of thing. But in this case, we're just going for aesthetics. So this isn't going to protect your knife in any way. This is just to make your knife look cool. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this on a few knives. First one is the railroad spike knife, which y'all saw in my previous video. On this one, I'm going to go for a hamon look, or hamon, or hamon, or however else you're supposed to pronounce that not English word. So I think I'm just going to go for a hamon look. Basically, make a wavy line across the bottom part of the blade. The first step, we're just going to take some denatured alcohol and, well, if I can get the lid open, and we're just going to clean the knife blade. Make sure there's no oil or anything else on it that would prevent this from working. So, got some denatured alcohol, some napkins. I'm going to clean the blade real quick. Simple. Okay, got our mustard here. Now remember, this is extremely important. This will only work with French's classic yellow mustard. No, this will work with any kind of mustard, just any kind at all. The only thing in mustard that is creating this reaction is the vinegar in mustard. The first ingredient of mustard is distilled vinegar, and that is what makes this work. Alright, got mustard, got the knife. Let's put two and two together. Alright, so for this knife, I'm going for a hamon look. So I am going to apply the mustard to the bottom part of the blade, like this. I'm just creating some lines in the mustard to give it some cool visual effect. Now, because the mustard will actually change the color of the steel a little bit, I'm not just going to put one line. I'm going to cover the whole bottom section of the blade. Let me get a napkin, I'm making a mess. Just clean this up a little bit so it's not going to go falling off everywhere. Okay, that looked pretty cool. Now I'm going to turn it over and do pretty much the same thing to the other side. Draw a few of them out a little, just for some effect, and then cover the other side. You hear the rain starting outside? Don't know if you can hear that, it just started raining. It's really loud in this shop because it has a tin roof. Alright, so we got that like so. Now I've got a clamp here. I'm going to clamp it like this so that I can set it down like that, and the mustard won't get messed up. And we're going to leave that sitting there for about 20-30 minutes. You'll know it's done when you have a black line running across here. The longer you leave it, the more pronounced the line will be. Okay, while we're waiting on that one to finish, I have my bushcraft knife here, which if you've been following my projects for a while, you might remember. I'm going to do another type of pattern with this one using mustard. I think I'm going to go with like a sort of tiger stripe pattern crossways along the blade. And that'll be pretty interesting. Let's see how that turns out. And we will leave that for about 20 minutes. Okay, it's been probably 20 minutes now, and as you can see, the lines on the steel now, the black line there is very pronounced now. Let me get myself out of the shadow so you can see. You see how pronounced that line is? That's what you're looking for. Oh yeah. There you go. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Look at that beautiful line there. Isn't that epic? That is really cool. Let's clean it off a little bit more. At this point we're done, so we want to get all the mustard off so it doesn't continue staining the steel. I think I'll use some alcohol too. Make sure we get all that off. It doesn't rust the blade where we don't want it to. That turned out really nice. I like that. Now, by this time you might be wondering like what the difference is between this line that we just made using mustard and a real hamon line. Okay, well, the difference is actually pretty big. A hamon line occurs when the knife is heat treated in a very special way. Basically, the line marks a difference in the hardness of the steel. They will coat the top part of the blade with clay on both sides, refractory cement usually, satinite, some sort of clay like that. And then when they heat the knife up and plunge it into the oil, the part under the clay cools down much slower than the bare metal going into the quench. And that produces this really awesome looking line down the blade that basically marks the difference between the part that's covered by clay and the part that's open. The soft steel of the spine to the harder steel of the cutting edge. Here I've got a real differentially heat-treated hatchet with a hardness line going across it. This isn't a real hamon line because this wasn't covered in clay that I believe. This was probably just differentially heat-treated by sticking only part of the blade into the quench, and that creates this temperature difference line across the blade here. This would be an example of a real differentially hardened blade rather than just a fake like this, but you can see the similarity. Here's a rebar knife I made that I did the same mustard treatment to. Not in this video, of course, but yeah, kind of cool. Bit unique. So I think these turned out pretty well. I really like this method of making your knives look awesome. It's a really easy way to give them a whole new look, make them look really nice. The results are pretty darn good, especially this one, this hamon line. That really looks pretty real. That's awesome. It's like it's a cheater's hamon. None of the hard work, just all the cool beauty of it. I'm a big cheater. But yeah. Hopefully you got something out of this video. I certainly had some fun. I need to start scripting these, which I did script this video, just not this part, which is why I'm rambling about random stuff.